This is Umar for BoxNation, and I'm a bit jealous because I've been to Vegas, been to New York, done everything really in America, but Philly's not one I've done yet, and that is a major boxing city with so much history and pedigree. And your guy Boots takes it by storm this Saturday night.
Yeah, good to speak to you, mate. Sorry for the attire this morning. I mean, a lovely Everlast tracksuit, I will say, but just finished the early morning weigh-in for the show. Obviously, do things a little bit differently out here with that 9 a.m. weigh-in and then 1 p.m. ceremonial weigh-in, which I think is sometimes loses a little bit of spite in the head-to-heads, but very good for the health and safety of the fighters to get an extra 4 hours hydration. So great fight city. I mean, great sports city. It's wild. You know, you've got the Wells Fargo Centre where the fight will take place, the first ever boxing event at the Wells Fargo. And you've got the ballpark, you've got the football field literally 100 yards away. And you've got a massive baseball game that finishes at 7 p.m. on the night of the fight. And you're talking about like a 2-minute walk to the thing. So we're hoping for a massive walk up. I think we're going to get 14,000. We're already through 12. So hopefully go through 13 today. And it's incredible, really. Like when you look at the history of boxing in Philadelphia, back to, I know, Jack Dempsey against Gene Tunney, 120,000. But even more, this is the biggest fight for 45 years in the city. Marvin Hagler against Benny Briscoe. Mike Tyson was here against Buster Mathis, did like 10,000 when he come out of prison. Sugar Ray, just like some real greats have fought here before. And Boots, I believe, is a future great. And it's great to see such a massive crowd and a massive homecoming for what I believe is a pound-for-pound great fighter.
Yeah, as you say, pound-for-pound material, but hasn't really had that exposure in America yet. Do you feel like you and Jaron's a perfect link-up at this stage?
Yeah, I think it's mad that fighters just don't get built more in their hometown. Like, why would you box Jaron Ennis in Los Angeles or I don't know, in Mississippi or wherever the fuck they've been moved?
Right, yeah, the question, sorry, we just had some technical issues. The question was, Avanesyan, we know what he brings, doesn't take a step back. Carl Greaves said we're going to see something different from David Avanesyan this weekend.
Yeah.
What that is?
I don't know. I mean, they alluded to that at the press conference yesterday. Talked about, maybe trying to box Boots, but I don't know. I mean, I think that Boots can do everything. That's the problem. I think if you come at Boots aggressively, he's a fantastic counterpuncher. If he wants to be aggressive and walk you down, he can do that as well. So it's catch-22 for Avanesyan that, I think he's got to do a little bit of both. I think if he comes out all guns blazing, and he's dangerous. I mean, this is I think, a much better fight and a much more dangerous fight than Cody Crowley. But it's a fight that Boots could look really good in as well. And I think he wants to make a statement. I mean, he said he believes he stops Avanesyan within 4 rounds. I mean, if he does that, the place is going to go nuts, and it's a hell of a statement.
August 3rd, obviously, you've got a massive show with Terence Crawford and Israel Madrimov. No easy task for Terence Crawford, but just say he does come through. I saw pictures of yourself, Jaron, His Excellency in New York when you were at the Devin Haney-Ryan Garcia fight week. Do you think potentially His Excellency will want to move that fight with Crawford and Ennis next?
Yeah, I think firstly, can't wait for August 3rd in Los Angeles. The Riyadh season card's going to be breathtaking. I do think His Excellency will want to make Crawford against Canelo, but I'm not sure how they're getting on, and I'm not sure the likelihood of that getting made. For me, I actually think Madrimov's going to beat Crawford. But if he doesn't, then the Boots Crawford fight is the best fight in boxing. It really is. I mean, I want to see Jaron win other titles at 147, because I think before you move up in weight, you should look to unify. But if the Crawford fight presents itself, I know Jaron Ennis would take it. And I'm sure His Excellency will be watching the show this Saturday. We'll be watching Jaron Ennis. And if he looks sensational, he's going to want him to be a part of the Riyadh season card, because His Excellency loves pound for pound great fighters. And Jaron Ennis is definitely that.
Talking about Canelo, obviously he's in talks with Chris Eubank Jr., who signed a long-term deal with Boxer. Say they can't land that fight with Canelo. What do you think they do with Chris?
Yeah, I don't know how long-term that is. I mean, you know, the feedback that we got from Eubank was that they want to do these 2 warm-up fights with Boxer and then make the Conor Benn fight. I think with Eubank, he's not stupid to the point where he knows he can't beat Canelo Alvarez, right? He's going to take a pasting in that fight. So he's going to want a load of money. And knowing Eubank, the number that he's asking for that fight is not realistic. Like commercially, that fight doesn't do anywhere near the numbers of Edgar Berlanga. So in America, that pay-per-view flops with Eubank. In UK, you can pick up another 100,000 subscribers at 4 o'clock in the morning, but still, you know, the gate, everything. And the money that Eubank's going to be asking for probably is even more than Edgar Berlanga. So I actually don't see that fight happening. I think with Chris as well, we wanted to give him one of these warm-up fights, which are a waste of money, and then put him in with Conor, but he asked for 2 warm-up fights. And that tells me that unless the money is crazy for Canelo Alvarez, I don't think that fight will happen. And I don't think the money will be crazy because I just don't think it's worth it. So, you know, if I was Eubank, I would take these 2 paydays from Sky, make the Conor Benn fight. And if he beats Conor Benn, commercially, he'll be in a brilliant position to fight Canelo next year. But obviously that's down to him and Boxer.
Just going back to the US, obviously, Jaron Ennis is a massive scoop. You've been linked with a couple of other big American stars as well. How would you say now you've kind of established in the States, been there for a while with DAZN, how are yourself and Matchroom getting on in the States?
I think there's no doubt we are the promotional company with the most momentum in America. I mean, coming off the Matias fight, the Bam Estrada fight, Jaron Boots Ennis, you know, massive crowds in all of those. Obviously, our involvement in the Riyadh season event upcoming. Hopefully, a fight with our guy Edgar Berlanga against Canelo Alvarez in September as well. I think we're in an unbelievable position. You know, I love our spot. I love our stable. You know, obviously, Bam's gone into the top 5 pound for pound. I think Jaron Boots Ennis, he's 100% a top 10 pound for pound fighter. Dimitri Bivol's in the top 10 pound for pound as well. We've got so many good young fighters coming through as well. So, yeah, I think we're in a brilliant position. And of course, you know, a lot of those guys in the pound for pound list are trying to have conversations with us. The most obvious and public of those being Shakur Stevenson. And, you know, I think Shakur wants to sign with us. But it's got to work for everybody. And we'll definitely start those conversations with his team next week.
Well, let me get your thoughts on this then about Shakur. Oscar De La Hoya had a great meeting with Shakur Stevenson's representatives. Williams Zepeda fight will only happen if Shakur is signed to Golden Boy.
Yeah, really weird. I mean, terrible for boxing. You know, Oscar really makes some strange statements where on one hand, he wants the best to fight the best and lets promoters work with each other. And then he tries to freeze out fights. Like, I don't know, like, you know, but I guess that's his way of trying to sign Shakur Stevenson. You know, for me, maybe I can't deliver this Zepeda fight, but we're all on the same platform. It's one of the best fights in boxing. You'd hope that if Shakur did choose Matchroom, that DAZN would put the pressure on to make that fight. But, you know, Oscar's going to do what he's going to do. I think it's really bad for boxing just to make in-house fights and not to work with anyone else. But a bit of a wild, you know, post. But Oscar's Oscar.
What could you offer Shakur then immediately? What's sort of in the forefront of your mind for him?
Well, I mean, certainly a promotional platform that's going to drive his profile through the roof and make all the big fights. You know, when I get asked that question, I mean, I think one of the reasons that Oscar comes out and says that is because of my comments to the media of, I think he should fight William Zepeda. And I think that gets Oscar's back up. So, well, no, I'm not giving you that fight. You know, if you manage to get him, I'm not giving you that fight, which is really strange, especially for William Zepeda, who could be getting a massive payday, an opportunity out of it. So I would definitely look to try and make the Zepeda fight with DAZN and Golden Boy. And if they didn't want to take that, then you move to other fights. Like, I think the key is to keep him active, to push his profile. You know, right now, as I said previously, he's probably the most talked about fighter in the world. Just drew a great rating on ESPN, did a big fight in Newark. So, you know, I don't think it's going to be difficult to get him the fights. But at the same time, you know, he needs to sign with someone that can deliver him the fights. And if that's not us, then maybe we're not an option. And maybe if he wants too much money for the fights we can deliver, maybe he ain't an option for us either. So he'll be there tomorrow night. He'll look around and go, wow. And as I said, I'll talk to his team. I've already arranged to have meetings with them early next week in America, and we'll see what happens.
Right, going from the States to Japan, Coppinger put out that Inoue and Doheny, TJ Doheny, is reportedly being finalised now. Your thoughts? Gutted,
devastated, disappointing for boxing, disappointing for Japan. I mean, look, if I hadn't have worked with TJ Doheny 5 or 6 years ago, I would really go in on this fight. But I don't want to disrespect TJ because, you know, he's a nice guy. He lost the world title 5 years ago. Being honest with you, it's just a horrific mismatch. Like, I don't understand why, for some reason, Team Inoue and Mr. Honda and everybody, I know for a fact, they don't like the Akhmadaliev fight. And I don't understand that you got a pound for pound, arguably number one, as an opportunity to fight. He's mandatory. I mean, it's not like, I wouldn't expect him to pick Akhmadaliev in a voluntary, but he's actual mandatory, which is actually the best fight out there for him. And the reality is, like, it's hard to say Inoue's ducking Akhmadaliev, but he actually is. I'm telling you now, Inoue will not fight Akhmadaliev at any point. So right now, he's planning on fighting September and December. I bet you he doesn't fight in September or December Akhmadaliev, even though he's been ordered to do it. And I bet he vacates the belt as well.
Wow.
So there's a reason for that. And by the way, Inoue is a big favourite in the fight. I'm not saying Akhmadaliev 100% beats him. I'm just saying that 4 fight fans in Japan, 4 fight fans around the world, the only fight that is competitive at 122 is Akhmadaliev. Why would you, like, the Doheny fight is just a waste of time. It doesn't make any sense. But anyway, that's boxing. Inoue's a great. I guess he has earned the right to a free pass. So good luck to him.
Lastly, just to close off, I actually haven't spoke to you since that video with Joshua Dubois, yourself and Frank went viral, which is great for the promotion of the fight on September 21st at Wembley. Frank reckons Daniel touched the nerve in AJ. How do you read it?
Not really. I mean, I've said before, like, when you stick it on AJ's toes and you do that by saying, let's go now, he's ready to fight. So people get surprised that, oh, that seemed like a different AJ. It's the same AJ as always. If you call him on to fight, it doesn't matter whether you're around a TV studio, in a ring at Wembley, in a car park, like, he's ready to fight. And he's not going to back down from someone saying, well, come on then, we'll have it now. All right. You know, I mean, when AJ stood up, in my opinion, Daniel Dubois looked petrified. And I was petrified. I don't blame him, by the way. But, you know, AJ means business. And this is a really good fight. Like, Daniel Dubois is a good fighter. This is the wrong time to fight AJ. And it's the wrong time to fight Dubois. And that's what makes it a great fight. Both guys in the forms of their career. You know, both guys fighting for the world heavyweight title at Wembley. It's a massive show. Simon
Jordan reckons he's going to get PTSD when Daniel lands on Anthony.
Yeah, I mean, it's good to see the you know, the boxing analytical genius was back with his analysis and breakdown of the fight. Look, both guys are huge punchers. You get hit off either guy, you're going to be in trouble, and that's what makes it such a compelling fight.
Well, listen, Eddie, best of luck with the show in Philly with Jaron Ennis, live on DAZN, obviously, this Saturday night, Sunday morning early for us. And then obviously I've got to quickly talk to you about what's going to be happening Sunday, 8 o'clock in England, a huge occasion in Berlin. Is it coming home?
I believe so. I mean, I think that everything's built us to this point, really, hasn't it? I mean, I think we've played progressively better throughout the tournament, started really poorly, but won the group. You know, the knockout stages played pretty average again. Then all of a sudden, you know, played much better in the quarterfinals, played much better in the semi-finals, particularly when we went behind. I mean, I thought the first half was thrilling to watch.
Mm.
You know, normal service was resumed a little bit in the second half, and but you can't. The problem is, for anyone that wants to criticise Gareth and stuff like that, it's a second back final in the Euros. I mean, I'm not sure the last time that happened, and I think we just got a really good group of players who showed ice in their veins in the penalty shootout, and I think we got a great chance. Spain are a great side, but I think all in all, it's coming home.
Is your football knowledge better than Simon Jordan's boxing knowledge?
Oh, that's a good question. Probably not. Probably not. I mean, I don't really follow the Premier League that closely. I mean, I go to a few Spurs games. I know some of the players personally, but obviously England's England. It's different. So we've been immersed in this tournament. And I know what I'm talking about in terms of watching a football match, but I don't know the ins and outs and the stats of the whole team. All I know is you've got a team of players that really want to win for their country and for all of us. And for that reason, we need to 100% get behind and win, lose or draw. If they win, it's legendary status. And I know that all they want to do is win. I think the good thing is, and I know this from speaking to a couple of them, they're not satisfied with getting to the final. Do you know what I'm saying? Sometimes you get a team that have got to the final. It's like, we're in the final. If we don't win on Sunday, everyone will be devastated and everyone making the finals irrelevant. And that shows me we've got a team of winners. So going to be a tough game, but I believe we're going to do it. Destiny is here. Great time for the country if we can get this over the line. It gives everybody a massive boost.
I reckon if Spain are up at halftime, they should will you out at halftime just to give some inspiration.
Well, it's difficult being in Philadelphia, but if you do need a target man and Harry's got a little twinge, let's be honest, there's not many better in the game.
No, not on the pitch. I meant inspiration in the change.
Oh no, I meant on the pitch, Umar, to be honest with you. You might have seen Soccer Aid, do you know what I mean? So.
Yeah, I did. I turned it off when you came on.
Cheers, thanks.
All right, Eddie, appreciate it, Simon. Best luck with
Cheers, mate. Speak soon. Bye, mate.
Cheers.
Bye.